Chapter 16. Kinky. I watch Eve sleep and think about how beautiful she is. Her dark hair is fanned across the pillow around her head in a tangled and slightly sweaty mess, but she still looks gorgeous. Watching her chest rise and fall at a slow, steady pace, I brush a stray strand of sweaty hair out of her face. I thought it was supposed to be the man that fell asleep right after sex, not the woman. I guess she's been losing sleep lately. Resting a hand on her very slightly curved belly, I try to imagine that there is a baby growing in there. Our baby. We made that. I smile, wondering if it's going to be a boy or a girl. Getting up, I walk round to the other side of the bed and plant a kiss on her belly before covering her up with bed sheets. After tucking her up, I go into the bathroom to shower. This is going better than I thought it would. It almost feels like we're normal again, although we haven't been this normal since we first got together. We met at a party, some shindig not far from here that I can't remember much about now, but I remember her. Eve caught my eye from across the room. Her beautiful dark hair was caught up in some fancy do on her head, her features accentuated with well-applied makeup, her amber eyes sparkling with interest when she caught me looking, her fine figure wrapped in a green-blue velvet party dress that finished above her knees. She took my breath away. Lathering shower gel between my hands, I think how I went over and chatted her up. When she spoke, her accent was very American, but the heritage audible in her voice captivated me. I still find that hint of Spanish in her voice so sexy. I don't know what we talked about, but I started to fall in love with her right then. On our first date, I took her to the vet. I had planned something better, but her cat was ill and she was in too much of a state to drive. I spent the whole night with her while the vet did his best to help her cat. I don't recall what was wrong with him, but Eve was a mess. I held her hand and reassured her the best I could, trying my best to distract her from worrying as much as I could. Neither of us got any sleep that night. The cat was fine. We picked him up the next day and he looked way better. The bubbles I have lathered all over myself start to wash off under the flow as I squirt shampoo into my palm and think back to our second date. It went a bit better. We had something to eat before taking a leisurely moonlit stroll on the beach, her suggestion. It was nice, but I thought it a bit too romantic for a second date. I liked her and didn't want to rush things. She even held my hand a bit. It was very pleasant, right up to the part where we got mugged at gunpoint. That was when I got a taste of her fiery temper. Instead of cowering from the gun, Eve went off on one and yelled at the rob at the top of her lungs, sounding infuriated. I was sure she was going to get us killed until the dude turned tail and ran off. On our third date, it was incidentally pretty close to Valentine's, and Eve suggested I come round to her place. She said she'd cook us dinner. So I did. Only almost as soon as we sat down to eat, the downstairs began to fill with smoke. We had to call the fire brigade, abandoning our dinner. I started to think that we were cursed and tried to remember who I had pissed off that much. A fire had started in her kitchen, but it turned out it was a faulty appliance and not because she had forgotten to turn the stove off. I suggested we grab a takeout and go back to my hotel room, not because I wanted to get her into bed, mind you, but she was all for it and we did end up doing just that. Luckily, our other dates went off without a hitch. Remembering our first night in bed, as I run my hands through my shampoo-filled hair under the flow of water, I feel a flicker of arousal. She was on fire. It was the best I've ever had. I don't know exactly what it was about it that made it so hot, but it wasn't a one-off. Every time we've made love since then has been out of this world, but not as amazing as that first time. Maybe it's a sign that we have great chemistry, and the rows are just an extension of that. When I'm done in the shower, I wrap a towel around my waist and head downstairs to fetch my bag and the snacks we left at the foot of the staircase. I think I can hear my phone ringing, but I don't know where it is. After dropping my bag on the floor in the bedroom and setting down the cans of soda and her muffin on her dresser, I listen for it. It stopped ringing now, but I don't think it's in here. Eve must have left it in the kitchen. Taking a bite out of my muffin, I realise how hungry I am and think if the caller rings back, they can just wait a minute. But it doesn't take me long to finish the muffin. It's delicious. I drain much of my Coke and decide to let Eve sleep for a while. She obviously needs it. I just hope she didn't have anything important planned for today. My ears prick up as I think I can hear my phone ringing again, but I'm not sure. By the time I get down to the kitchen, I'm certain that my phone is ringing and manage to answer it before it stops. Hello? I say into it, not looking to see the caller ID before picking up. Hey Mike, is now a good time to talk? Justin says. Sure, I yawn, relieved it's him. What about, buddy? I need to hear it from you, partner. Justin begins in his Texan twang. It's one thing rearranging some asshole's face, but an entirely different prairie dog when you're talking more serious rodeos. I gotta tell you, there's a lot of whispering about you, partner, and I need to hear you say it. Tell me you didn't rape that little girl, Miller. I walk over to the window, which looks out over the pretty back garden, the Californian sunshine blazing through, and rest my elbows on the clean, tidy kitchen counter. What do you think, Just? I say, trying not to sound offended by the question, as my own American accent shows. Max, no, never mind what I think, he says dismissively. But you understand I have to ask. Truth be told, he wants to know the truth of the matter before he will consider anything. Recalling our previous conversation, I understand this gangster acquaintance to be this him Justin is referring to. I can't think of any other man he would refer to in such a cryptic fashion. Hearing Justin talk in his natural voice, you could easily picture him as an old cowboy in his 50s, complete with a stereotypical hat turned round, beer belly, and a corn stalk or a cigar hanging from his lips. You would never know he is actually a young man in his mid-20s, and on screen he sure can hide his accent too. No, I didn't rape that girl. I could never do something like that. It's so vile, I say. I'm not really angry or offended that he asked, but in the asking, I'm reminded of this nightmare. Being out here on the West Coast, so far away from where it happened, helps the issues seem far away, like a bad dream. It was never real. I can almost imagine that it never actually happened. How come the cops are so convinced you did it, partner? He goes on. At least from what I hear they are. Oh, you're right about that, and I wish I knew why, I sigh. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It happens. I can't wait for this thing to just go away. Okay, partner, I believe you, he says cheerfully. And just so you know, I never thought you were down with that kind of dancing. I'll be in touch when I know about things. See you on set. Sure, later, buddy, I respond, before disconnecting the call and laying my phone down. With a deep, troubled sigh, I rub my face with my hands before tightening the towel that's wrapped around my waist and heading back upstairs. Wait, I say, remembering my phone. Not this time, you don't. At least I'm not leaving the house anytime soon. Grabbing my phone, I take it up to the bedroom and search for her phone charger. There's one benefit to her still having the same type of phone as me. I can share her charger. Hers is fully charged, so unplug it from the cord and connect mine, which is surviving on the tiniest bit of battery power. I'm lucky it hasn't died on me yet. Then I dress, my eyes periodically falling on Eve's sleeping form on the bed. She's certainly not easy to understand, that's for sure, but I feel lucky to have her. Lying on the bed, over the covers, I put an arm around her and nestle my head against hers. Eve sighs in her sleep and snuggles against my chest. Tell me everything's going to be okay, Evie, I whisper, stroking her back. I just need to know that. I'm scared too, honey. You have no idea. Closing my eyes, I just lie with her for a while, enjoying the closeness. I have no idea how much time has passed when she eventually opens her eyes and looks up at me. Did I sleep? She asks drowsily, and lets out a yawn. What time is it? She rolls over and reaches for where her phone is on the bedside table. Yeah, you've been out for a while, I say, rolling onto my back and stretching out. Whoa, 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 I exclaimed, stroking her hair as I moved my hands under her chin to stop her. Time out. You want me to do what? She sits up on the bed and shrugs, wiping the back of one hand across her mouth. Come on, baby, she purrs, sidling up to me on the bed and twirling her index fingers in circles across my chest. You know how hot it makes me. No. I shake my head. I'm on the hook for rape. Tying you up is not going to give me any pleasure, no matter how much it gives you. I just can't, Evie. Not right now. But she refuses to take no for an answer, no matter how valid my reasoning. I watch her get off the bed and lift a thin, pale blue leather belt off the floor. Oh, please, pretty please, she begs, holding out the belt towards me in her palms and looking at me with puppy dog eyes. Please. Oh, God help me, how can I? You know, I purr, sliding off the bed and going up to her, putting my face close to her neck. We could make love without any of that. And then I proceed to softly kiss the side of her neck. She purrs, giggling. We've already done that. Evie wiggles away from my lips and looks at me thoughtfully. You know what your problem is? She says, cocking her head to one side. You take life too seriously. One thing has nothing to do with the other. And do you have any idea the level of trust involved in what I'm asking you to do? I look her up and down, considering, weighing things up. She is still butt naked, her hair all dishevelled, and still holding the belt in her hands. I didn't think of that, I admit. Are you sure about this? She laughs and slaps me on the arm with the belt. Just shut up and do it, she smiles, rolling her eyes. Ow, I gasp, rubbing my upper arm. That hurt. I snatch the belt off her and wrap the buckle end round my fist. Ah, she exclaims, moving away from it, holding up a finger as if she knows what I'm thinking about doing. I laugh and cradle the belt in my hands. Would I do something like that? When you've got that look in your eyes, you would, she says, looking me up and down. So will you tie me up? I'll say yes. I roll my eyes towards the ceiling and stare at it for a moment, as if God is going to provide the answer. Remembering how excited she got last time I tied her up, it's hard to say no. Maybe she's right, and this has nothing to do with the rape accusation. She's begging me to do it for crying out loud, so it's not against her will, is it? So what am I worrying about? I shrug and look at her again, agreeing in a vague way. She bounces on her toes, causing her boobs to jiggle, and claps her hand together, looking very pleased. "Oh, you won't regret it," she cries, embracing me and kissing my cheek. Eve helps me out of my loose pants and underpants. "Thank you," I smile, kissing her on the lips. I got on the bed before I changed my mind. When she turns towards the bed, I slap her on the butt with the end of the leather belt in my hand gently, but hard enough to make a soft smacking sound. She screams in response. "Bastard," she mutters, scooting on to the bed and holding her arms above her head. Laughing quietly, I run my tongue over my lips as I straddle her on the bed and unwrap the belt from my fist. "Anchor it to the headboard," she instructs. I loop it round one of the bars on her headboard and slip the end through the buckle, pulling it tight against the bar. Then I wrap the length around her wrists. "Tighter," she says. "Come on, don't be afraid." "I don't want to hurt you," I say, kissing her. "Just do it," she sighs. "You should be the slogan announcer on those Nike commercials," I chuckle, tightening the leather on her wrists. She gasps and I wonder if it's too tight. It's going to leave a mark, I worry, holding the end in the half-knotted position and wonder whether I ought to loosen it. "It's fine," she insists, wiggling her arms. "Tie it off and relax, will you?" I tie it in a firm double knot and move down so that I'm straddling her legs. She grins at me, pulling her wrists tight, testing the restraints, and I can see her getting turned on by this already. I lean down and kiss her on the lips, slow and passionately. He responds with hot desire and moans into my mouth. I kiss her on the neck, still slow and gentle, running my hands over her body and across her breasts as I do so, not hesitating on her erect nipples. She starts gasping and moaning, and I know she wants me to speed things up, maybe wishing I'd pay closer attention to her nipples. The way to get her really hot is to prolong things, and it will also increase the chances of me forgetting she's tied up, increasing my arousal too. "Oh, Mike," she gasps breathlessly and moans. "Come on, I want you now." I smile as I pause in the middle of kissing my way down to her chest and rub her inner thigh with one hand. I'd much rather her hands were caressing me and pulling me towards her than tied uselessly at her head, but I can't argue with this, really. Eve bucks her hips, pushing against mine, moaning erotically, and I wonder how much longer I'll be able to hold out. Nothing gets me hot like a woman's orgasmic moans.